Could the human mind access information across time and space without technology and without physical contact? In the early 1970s, the US government quietly funded a classified program to find out. At Stanford Research Institute, physicists Russell Targ and Harold Punoff conducted controlled experiments into what became known as remote viewing. Their findings caught the attention of the CIA and led to Project Stargate, a 20-year military-backed investigation into the mind's potential for intelligence gathering.
The Stargate project was one of many different code names for a 20-year project that involved a classified program of psychic espionage.
Project Stargate was the use of psychics in the Army to support all of the major intelligence agencies in America, with psychics producing intelligence against our enemies in the field.
This started in 1972 and went through 1995. The reason it came about is because the US government had been hearing reports at the time from the Soviet Union that the Soviets were very interested in parapsychological phenomena, including the possibility of using remote viewing to capture our secrets.
The CIA is very interested in spying of all kinds, so I came to them with the idea that we had begun to explore this remote viewing business where a person can quiet their mind and see into the distance and describe what was there.
We were able to find pretty quickly in the beginning of that program that remote viewing was a real thing, that essentially clairvoyance was real, and you could in fact gain information from a distance of almost any type that you can imagine, and it provided an additional piece of information that was useful to intelligence analysts.
I was the first person selected for the Stargate program. I was the only person who spent the entire time it existed in the Stargate program. When I was recruited, I was given the designation 001.
I was there for 1 year out of the 22 years. My role was partially about threat analysis. That we would hear that somebody in China or somebody in the Soviet Union at the time or somewhere else was doing something psychic which might be a threat.
When they started our project, it turned out that it was so good, the results, we got tasking immediately to counter what was going on. So we were being tasked to target our enemies, and the results were effective. So many of the agencies we were supporting started giving us tasking, and it just took off from there.
Remote viewing is not about seeing in the conventional sense. It's about sensing across distance and time. At Stanford Research Institute, scientists developed a method to do just that, teaching participants to still the mind, notice subtle impressions, and report raw perceptions. Not guesses or logic, but sketches, sensations, and fragments of awareness. This became the blueprint for remote viewing, a structured practice grounded in observation and repeatable by design.
I have this protocol. I will say to the person, quiet your mind and tell me about the surprising images that show up in your awareness, and draw me a picture. Those are the magic words. I don't say, where do they go to hide? I don't say, what does it look like? I ask them, tell me what you're experiencing. What are the surprising images? And they will then draw where the person is hiding, or where the submarine is sailing, or what's going on Jupiter's moon.
You would think that somebody would say, well, tell me what's going on and give them some details about it. And that you never want to do that because it's called front loading. That was the jargon. The front loading was that you would sort of tell them and then they start fantasizing about that.
When a remote viewer learns to remote view, the process becomes habitual. It becomes a habit. So Dr. May, who I worked with many, many years doing remote viewing studies, he may come up to me on a Friday night and he may say, look, you need to get a lot of rest this weekend because Monday morning we're going to do a series of 5 remote viewings, and they're really important, they're critical. As soon as he says that, I'm already collecting the data. It's an automatic. I can't stop myself from doing that. So by Monday, I have all the answers.